So just a quick little information before we start the video. In my last video I theorized that the I in the Sweet Crazy Love MV was Eve, and some people mentioned that at the time she was not yet a member of Loona. And to that I can say, yes, she wasn't. She hadn't yet debuted. But what I also have to say about this is, at the time of researching and theory making, I noticed that the I in the Sweet Crazy Love teaser was Kimlip, and I thought, well, how strange that they changed the I for the MV itself. I mean, yeah, we get to see Kimlip's I in the MV as well, but in the teaser there's this light going over the eye and going from black to the eye. But in the MV itself there's only this one scene of her eye opening and it's in color. So I thought, how weird. Did they not want to spoil anything with the teaser? Did they want to mislead us? Or did they make changes in between the release of the teaser and the song? Well, I still don't have clear answers to all of these questions, but one answer I do have. Is this really Eve's eye? Yeah, well, I think so. I looked at all of the members' eyes and her eyes just seem to be a match. So is it possible for this to be Eve, even though she didn't debut yet? I think so. Let's quickly take a look at Eve's journey to debut. Eve was first announced as a member of Loona on the 14th of November. So with every member that debuted, they shot these teaser photos in advance. And Eve is thought to have only trained on the BBC for 3 weeks. Now, even if we assume that Eve trained on the BBC up until these photos were published, then the date of her joining BBC would be the 24th of October. As I said before, they had to shoot the MV and take these photos in advance. So the teaser for the Sweet Crazy Love MV was released on the 25th of October, while the MV itself was released on the 31st of October. So yeah, this makes me believe that Eve was already planned out to debut at least 1 week before the MV was released, if not even 2 weeks earlier, if we take into account that they probably took at least a week to shoot her teaser photos and the new MV. So to sum up, Eve was already a part of the company when Sweet Crazy Love was released. I couldn't find a lot of clear-cut dates of when the members joined the company or when they started doing the test shoots, so take all of this with a grain of salt. But I can definitely say that she was part of BBC when they filmed/edited the Sweet Crazy Love MV. I could imagine that BBC filmed the MV and added Kimlip's eye to the teaser because they wanted to mislead us, and then put Eve in the MV. Kind of like they did with Jinsol in Every Day I Need You, because she was part of the company, and just like they say in the description for Girlfriend, a yet to be seen girl is revealed to us. So yeah, I feel like this is Eve, and the Girlfriend and Sweet Crazy Love MVs try to hint to her and make us excited for the new member to be revealed, just like they did with Jinsol. So let's get to the important part. The surprise I was talking about in my other videos. I made a little Loona advent calendar. Yay. So there will be 3 videos about the fairy tales some of the MVs are based on. I will explain the fairy tale and I will connect them to the MVs. I just felt like something like this would be really fitting to the holiday spirit, and it would be kind of like a 200 or 300 subscriber special. Since I gained a lot of followers in a short period of time, I didn't really do a 100 subscriber special or 200 subscriber special. And who knows, maybe at the end of the year I will have 300 subscribers. And so this is kind of like my thank you to you, my subscribers. And so this week's video is going to be about Heejin and Alice in Wonderland, which seems to be an inspiration for the Vivid MV. So I would say let's just take a quick look at the story of Alice in Wonderland for the people who are not so familiar with the story. Alice is a young girl that on one beautiful summer day sits with her sister at a riverbank. Alice is bored of reading a book without pictures when she notices a white rabbit run by that pulls a pocket watch out of its waistcoat. The rabbit mumbles to itself that it is going to be late. This makes Alice very curious, since she has never seen a rabbit that could talk and that wears clothing. She follows the rabbit into a rabbit hole and falls for what seems to be like an eternity before landing in a long hallway, which has a lot of differently sized doors. Alice sees an enchanting garden through one of the doors, but is too big to fit through. She then sees a little bottle labeled "Drink Me," and after doing so, she shrinks until she is too short to reach the key laying on the table. She begins to cry before she spots a cake labeled "Eat Me." When she does so, she grows so tall that she can barely fit into the hallway. No matter what she does, she is never good enough. She now cries so much that a pool of her tears form around her. This is when she spots the rabbit again, but once he sees the giant Alice, he scurries away in fear, leaving behind a pair of white gloves. Without knowing it, Alice grew smaller again, and then puts on the white gloves of the rabbit. When she notices that she is shrinking, she wants to seize the moment and run through the small door leading into the garden. But since she created a pool out of her tears, she now has to swim through her own tears. She can make her way onto the shore, together with some other animals that were taken away by her tears as well, when they decide to play a game of running around aimlessly until they are dry. Now I have to just quickly say that this is a pretty long story to summarize, so I am leaving away some details and parts of the story that seem like they're not so important for this video. Okay, so let's continue. So Alice now meets the rabbit again, that demands to get its gloves back. Since Alice lost them, she decides to help the rabbit looking for them. Alice then comes upon a little house and out of curiosity steps in. She finds another bottle that she takes a sip out of, just to suddenly grow so tall that she can wear the house as a costume. The rabbit is really fed up and doesn't believe that Alice has lost the gloves, so it sends Bill the lizard through the chimney to fetch his gloves. Alice sends the lizard flying and infuriates the rabbit even more. He goes all psycho on her and tries to burn down the house. Now Alice threatens to send her cat after the rabbit, but the rabbit starts to throw pebbles at her that turn into cakes. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but Alice takes the chance to eat one of the cakes and begins to shrink again. Now she can free herself and flee into the woods. There she finds herself too small again and comes upon a caterpillar who sits on a mushroom and does shrooms. He asks Alice who she is, but because of her constant body transformations, she isn't quite sure herself. Then he demands an explanation, but Alice simply is unable to give one. Now he insults her and makes her recite a poem, just to tell her that she's wrong. After all this, he becomes slightly more pleasant and tells her that one side of the mushroom turns ya big and the other makes ya small. She breaks off 2 pieces and becomes big and small, and big and small, and now she is her normal size again. Yay. Quick little speed run. So she finds a house which belongs to the Duchess, enters just to have the Duchess throw her baby to Alice, and Alice runs outside because the Duchess cook is throwing plates and pans. The baby becomes a piglet and it trots away. And now she meets the Cheshire cat. And now she meets the smiling cat. They talk for a bit and the cat does a little bit of its vanishing tricks before Alice meets the March Hare, who is having a tea party under a tree with the Mad Hatter and the half asleep half awake Dormouse. They nag her about her manners and they talk about time while giving her riddles that lack any answer. Alice is so fed up with them that she reprimands her hosts for not inviting her and quickly runs off to get away from these lunatics. Long story short, Alice finds the way back to the garden through a tree that has a door. In the magical garden, she meets gardeners that are playing cards, who paint white roses red, since the queen wanted red roses and they planted white ones. The queen appears and makes Alice play croquet with her, where the mallets or flamingos, hedgehogs serve as balls, and playing card soldiers form the arches. At the end of the story, the Knave of Hearts is accused of having stolen the tarts of the queen. The White Rabbit is officer of the court, and Alice is called in as a witness. They all act all kinds of stupid, making Alice really lose her marbles, and calls them out on their buffoonery. The queen gets angry with Alice, but Alice grows taller while becoming more self-confident. She dismisses them all as a bunch of playing cards and wakes up again. She tells her sister about all of her adventures in Wonderland, and her sister ponders Alice's future, when she can tell her children about these fantastical stories and entertain them. So all in all, her story in Wonderland is kind of nonsensical and leads nowhere, but that's kind of the point. In life, you rarely have a straight path ahead of you, and especially as a kid becoming a teen, it is never really easy to go through so many changes inwards and outwards. So this story is supposed to make this strange real world of grown-ups look like it looks for kids, who don't understand all of these rules yet and who can't handle rejection and mean-spirited people. So all in all, this is kind of a great children's story for both children and their parents. Now, let's look at what connects the story of Alice with the story of Heejin. So, Alice's world is bleak and boring before she meets this little rabbit and enters the Wonderland. In Heejins MV, we see a rabbit and a bathroom. I don't really know if this is supposed to be a reference to the riverbank Alice sits by, before we see Heejin open her eyes to color. Then we see Heejin dressed up to look like a posh, older, more mature woman who can speak French. This could be a representation of Alice's sister. Her sister wants her to grow up and mature through reading boring books without pictures. And also, I don't know why there is French in this MV, since Lewis Carroll, who wrote Alice in Wonderland, was from Great Britain. But I guess this could be because French is seen as like a posh language, like a sophisticated language for the elite, kind of. In both versions of the subtitles, the woman says that she feels like the house should be cleaned up and gives the task to the other Heejin. Now we see one rabbit surrounded by 6 other rabbits, and after this there is a scene with Heejin surrounded by 7 other rabbits. To me it seems like just like Alice met some people on her journey through Wonderland, Heejin starts meeting curious and strange people as well. In this scene we can also see their colors represented, like red for Kimlip, blue for Jinsol, green for Hassel, yellow for Hyunjin, orange for Yeojin, purple for Cherry, and then black for Olivia Hay. And just like in Alice's story, there is a big door and a small door. In the story of Alice, she threatens the rabbit with her cat, and who does Heejin meet at the end of her journey in Wonderland? A cat. At the end of the MV, Heejin is shown to clean the house. You could now say that actually nothing changed for her, but she does wear a different outfit now. A more mature, less colorful outfit with a pearl necklace. The story of Alice ends with her waking up, and the reader realizes that Alice never really was in Wonderland, but she still tells her sister about her adventures in Wonderland, and her sister thinks about how Alice will tell these stories to her children, and that she would be a great storyteller. She can now see Alice in the image of a grown-up, as if she noticed that Alice matured through her adventures in Wonderland. So both of these stories seemingly end with nothing actually happening to the protagonist, but that's not quite true. These two protagonists change a lot throughout their journeys and mature because of them. Alice and Heejin at the end of these stories are more grown up and capable to deal with what comes their way. Alice is more prepared to stand her ground and be brave in a world full of grown-ups that will not understand her and will underestimate her. But now she will no longer cry when something happens to her, but instead she will believe in herself and her capabilities. That is also why a lot of people think Alice is a role model. She, at the beginning of the story, feels unsure about her role in the world and is overwhelmed by her surroundings. She has to deal with a lot of crazy and mean people along her way, and they do not seem to understand her. She makes some friends along the way and makes her way through this strange place, with some help of others, sure, but also by starting to believe in herself and her own capabilities. At the end of the story, she even speaks her own mind to the Queen of Hearts, when before she was so scared of her that she just went along with her plans out of fear. And I do feel like the similarities of Heejins MV to the Alice in Wonderland story are purposeful and make Heejin's role in the Loonaverse a bit more clear. She is not yet a grown-up and doesn't fully understand the strange world around her, but through the help of her friends she finds along the way, and through believing in herself, she can overcome her shortcomings, and that is why she might not be the leader of Loona 1/3, but she definitely is the first one, the trailblazer of the other members. This motive of two Heejins, one mature and one that is more childish, also is shown to us in the teaser images. We have one Heejin that rides on a Ferris wheel and eats ice cream in a red and blue rose dress that has blue text, and then we have a mature Heejin that in comparison is not wearing modern clothing, but more so clothing that would fit into the time when Alice in Wonderland was first published. She is wearing a dress with ruffles and is in or around a castle, and her text is pink instead of blue. So yeah, I feel like Heejin could have some similarities to Alice, and maybe it could have some connections to the movie as well, in which Alice is seen as some kind of chosen one that is sent to Wonderland to save them. But I don't like the message of the movie, and I feel like Loona has a different message as well, so I'm just not going to cover the movie. I hope you liked my analysis, and if you like to, you can comment under the video on your opinions on the Alice in Wonderland story, or what you think of Heejin's similarities to Alice. So I will see you next week with another fairy tale, and if you liked the video you can like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.